Good afternoon and welcome to BrookesTV News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Liliana Terizakis.
And I'm Susan Carter. Let's take a look at what's coming up in this week's episode. Why are Oxfordshire mental health services struggling?
Fasting, fatigue and assignments, how students are coping this Ramadan.
And we sent 2 reporters to take a look at this year's Science Bazaar.
In Oxfordshire, accessing mental health support can take time. With waiting times rising, some are left without immediate care.
Reporter Millie Faulkner spoke to a local youth mental health organisation.
Across Oxfordshire, mental health services are under increasing pressure. Charities like Response are working to support vulnerable young people, but demand continues to rise. Today I'm in Littlemore at the Moral Crescent site of Response, where they provide supported accommodation and mental health services to young people of Oxfordshire. Today I spoke to Jamie about the challenges they are facing and why early intervention is so important.
We do a lot of support within CAMS, so within the NHS system, so we have social prescribers and youth workers that are embedded within CAMS teams to give support to young people. If you are referred by your GP or by your school to the CAMS system, you're looking at waiting possibly 2 years to get support. And then other services that are not NHS services have similar wait times, so we have a wait time of about a year to be seen in our children's services. So there's a lot of issues around young people not getting support in a timely way because they're having to sit and wait for support to come their way. The donations to charities like ourselves is really important because that means that we can get more workers and we can do more. I think it sadly is getting worse. I think it's got worse since the COVID pandemic of people reaching out for mental health support, and therefore more people reaching out means that there are more people on a wait list. So yeah, it does feel like it's quite a negative picture for the future, but hopefully there'll be more funding coming either from the government or from people donating to us.
Jamie says the need for support has grown significantly in recent years, particularly among young people struggling with anxiety and housing instability.
So demand has definitely increased massively in the past 5 or 6 years since the pandemic. There's a lot of issues going around with mental health for young people, so we're definitely seeing that as being a massive rise in demand for our services.
Response says early, stable support can make the difference between crisis and recovery. With demand rising, charities like Response say early support is key to preventing long-term crisis. Millie Faulkner for BrookesTV.
As Ramadan is taking place, hundreds of thousands of Muslim students across the UK will begin a month of fasting from dawn until dusk.
But how can universities better support students? Nick Wilkinson reports.
Exams and essays are tough, but for Muslim students, adding a 15-hour fast makes university life even harder. Professor Louise Taylor saw this firsthand. Her students were struggling to focus during afternoon classes, so she decided to help.
That as an experienced educator, I could be teaching and not realise that there were students in my class who were fasting during Ramadan and that it was the period of Ramadan. And so we got talking and I talked to my students to try and find out more about it, and they were really open and explained to me what Ramadan meant to them and what impact it was having on them.
Professor Taylor created a guide for university staff. She discovered the biggest issue isn't hunger, it's a severe lack of sleep.
So when you're fasting, you don't have as much energy, you can't do as much studying, you don't have as much work, you can't do as much work. So I try to get extensions for my assignments. Sometimes it goes through, sometimes it doesn't, because they say Ramadan is not enough to extend the deadline.
A major hurdle is the system itself. University calendars are currently built around Christian holidays like Easter and Christmas.
When universities are planning the academic year and planning teaching and assessment, particularly assessment dates, it's really important that the period of Ramadan is taken into account, because obviously Muslim students who are fasting and observing Ramadan might be disadvantaged compared to other students because they might not have the energy or the ability to engage as deeply in their studies as other students.
This lack of awareness is something all students are noticing.
To know what they're doing, how they're feeling through this time, and also their well-being. So knowing, for us as students, but also the lecturers, it's really important for them to know as well. Because then if they're exhausted from it, then they can get the support they need.
To help, groups like the Islamic Society host weekly meals to build community. And with Professor Taylor's new guide, the hope is that universities will finally adapt, so no student is penalised for their faith. Nick Wilkinson, BrookesTV.
This year marks the 18th annual Science Bazaar here at Oxford Brookes, an event that brings science to life through interactive experiments, live demonstrations and hands-on activities. Our reporter Anne Sung-min went to find out more.
For many children, science lives in textbook, but today it's happening in their hands. At Oxford Brookes University, researchers have swapped lecture theatres for live demonstration, turning academic work into what families can explore.
There's always a risk when we do our research that what we do stays in towers, right? In a kind of place that has limited access from the public. So it's vital that we communicate with people what we do.
The Science Bazaar brings university research out of the lab and into the community. From health science to engineering and technology, complex ideas are being broken down into interactive experiments, designed to spark curiosity early.
It's feel quite different because of there's a experiment to feeling and to touching someone else. There is a much more than theory we can experience here with our child.
Organizers say early exposure matters. By making research visible and accessible, they hope to remove the sense that science is distant, or only for a select few.
I saw there was these cars, so maybe I might be looking forward to making them.
Seeing research is quite exciting, it's very inspiring, and then meeting people and having that face-to-face conversation is really quite good at shaping your career path, I think.
I hope that they take away a natural sense of curiosity, to be honest. There are lots of different activities which can open your eyes to different things. So you've got the truck behind me as well, which is quite nice. So I really hope that they take that natural sense of curiosity.
For some here, today is simply a day out, but for others, it may be the beginning of something much bigger. At Oxford Brookes, An Sung-min.
There was a lot more to explore.
This annual event is all about inspiring future scientists. We sent a second reporter to take a look at the technology section of the festival.
Today, Oxford Brookes opened its doors to young people and their families for its annual science festival. The goal, to encourage and inspire the youth of today to become the scientists of tomorrow. This year was one of its most successful yet, with staff recording over 8,000 participants.
I'm here at the 18th Annual Science Bazaar here at Oxford Brookes. Today, families have come to learn more about the world of STEM from students and professionals alike.
I spoke to organiser Sienna Lukey about what this day means for both the university and the young people participating.
The Science Bazaar is for 5 to 12-year-olds and their families. There's about 8,000 attendees. We've got 70 plus exhibits, so they're all people. There's Brookes lecturers, there is Oxford uni people, there's people from the Oxford Science Park. We've got lots of things. So this is our tech zone. We've got the drone football behind us. There's motorsport engineering. There's also other zones. So you've got healthy life, green zone, brick cafe and theatre. We've also got the fire engine and a simbulance outside for people to explore because it's just nice because it's a free event. It's really making it accessible to everyone who wouldn't usually be able to learn about these kind of things. So it's important to get young people into science because it helps to shape their future careers. So there's some sort of things here like motorsport engineering that I never learned about in school that they get to learn here. So people come from half an hour up to 3 hours away just to learn about these things.
It wasn't just the children that enjoyed the day, however. I couldn't resist getting involved myself.
The reason we are doing this is we're building a machine with a fusion machine with the sun inside, is because we want to attach it to a power station so that we can make lots of energy using the same reaction that powers the sun.
Okay.
It does not release any CO2, it does not use any fossil fuels. It is the most energy efficient reaction possible per weight of fuel.
The event was all about inspiring the next generation of scientists, and they definitely had a lot to say about it.
My favourite thing was probably the RC construction driving they did in the other building, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's like you can like drive a construction truck. I drove the crane for a bit. I learned how to drive vehicles.
Science, you can make that imagination a reality.
If today's festival proves anything, it's that curiosity has no limits. The hope is that by opening doors to the young people of today, events like this will inspire future generations to become the STEM workers of tomorrow. Charlie Fisher, BrookesTV News.
What a great turnout for the Science Bazaar. Hopefully we'll see you there next year.
That's all for this half, but stay tuned as we have more to come. Let's take a look at what's coming up after the break.
We hear about a student-led discussion on queer rights.
And Brookes hosted their 6th annual Creative Industries Festival.
Welcome back. We are joined now by Lucy Carter, an experiential events producer who works on large-scale immersive activations, including projects linked to the Premier League in the United States. Lucy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
For the people watching, what exactly does experiential and immersive events mean in practice?
It's a good question. It essentially is how we can create an event for fans, say for Premier League. We create a space where the fans can come and feel fully immersed within the brand, and also within the partners that they have and the clubs as well. So there are 20 clubs within Premier League, so it's being able to enable the fans to immerse themselves within all of those clubs.
So when a fan walks in, what exactly do they experience? What is their first?
It totally depends. So we create something, well, Premier League have a partnership with NBC Sports, and our main aim is to essentially create a space where we can activate that partnership. So they have a program called Mornings Live, and in order to enable the fans to actually experience that, we then create a fan festival where we live broadcast the matches that are happening in the UK, but from a fan festival. So we have a lot of clubs come down, then we have ex-players come, and the idea is that you can essentially enable the fans to experience the Premier League, but also watch the matches all together as kind of a united fan front.
So you've mentioned fan spaces and immersive spaces. What are you physically building in these spaces for the fans?
Yeah, so it comes down to the partners and how they want to activate. That can be ranging from Rezzle, which is an immersive VR headset, to then Avery Dennison, who are the merch suppliers, and where you can basically go and buy a jersey and get your surname printed on it with different badges as like a takeaway. So yeah, it's a huge range, but it is basically dependent on how the partners want to activate within that space. And then we also have a stage where the 4 presenters of the Mornings Live from NBC Sports, they then do the broadcasting live from that stage.
Brilliant. So you're working with Premier League activations in the US. What's different about translating English football culture to an American audience?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a constant moving beast. The fans in the US are so different to the UK. UK is very much an inheritance, you know, it's kind of built from even before you were born. Sometimes you don't really have a choice which club you're chosen. You're kind of built into or born into a family who, say, are Arsenal supporters or Man City supporters. But in the US, it's very much focused on, you might just love the colour red, and so therefore you choose Arsenal, or you may like a certain player, so that's why you would follow a certain club. But we've actually found that there are fans who like a plethora of clubs, so not just one particular one, which is great for us as Premier League. You know, the whole aim of the game is to try and build the fan base, but also to try and build a fan base that is truly loyal and will stick and remain being fans of Premier League, but also of clubs. And when we did the first ever Premier League Summer Series tournament, which is basically a friendlies tournament between what was 6 clubs back in 2023. We actually did some surveys beforehand to kind of get an idea of what the fan base was like at that time, and the top supporter club was Chelsea, but then the second level below that was all of these fans that did not have an affiliation to a club. So therefore, for us, it's very positive because we can then reach out to all the clubs and go, look, you've got this huge amount of percentage of fans that don't actually support a club yet, so let's get you to the US and let's get you to try and be in front of these fans, and then they can then start to slowly support. So Brentford, for example, which is very much an underdog here in the UK, was received really, really well out in the US back in 2023, and they've then been there in the US ever since, every year.
Brilliant. And one quick question, what do you support?
Arsenal.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This week marks the close of LGBTQ+ History Month, a national celebration to respect and reflect on the queer history and civil rights movements which paved the way for LGBTQ+ rights.
LGBTQ+ History Month is a national celebration recognized by the UK since 2005, a month-long annual event that was first established in the US in 1994. Its purpose is to observe queer history and the history of various civil rights movements. This joint panel discussion brings together Brookes students and staff to discuss how queer voices and lived experiences drive innovation and contribute to social change in a variety of different academic fields.
Homophobia has existed for so long. Queer people have existed for far longer, and they were always there, and they always had some kind of space, even if it wasn't public. But you know, seeing that some queer people did have each other back then, it was still quite. There's little pockets of joy where queer people could be themselves back then, when it was very much illegal to be yourself.
I guess innovation is just, making space for yourself in whatever field that is, by any means necessary.
Innovation to me is when people are, trying to do their best to be the best version of themselves. And it's about making a difference and making a change. Like, innovation is about getting out of the box and finding new things, finding different angles to the same situation. It's about the evolution of kind of you as a person and an evolution of the kind of growth that you can bring to an industry, or the kind of growth that you can bring to a certain community. So that's kind of like my take on innovation.
Do you know how research is shaping the future of the creative industries?
We sent a reporter to Brookes University's 6th Annual Creative Industries Festival to explore.
We are here at Oxford Brookes University, where researchers and creators have gathered at the Creative Industries Festival to share their research ideas and their insights about the creative industry and their future.
Over 3 days, the festival brings together academics, students and industry voices to debate key issues from artificial intelligence to cultural identity and creative ownership.
One of the great things about this festival is that it is all about building bridges out from the university as an institution into the local community and like I say, internationally. And today we're just showcasing and celebrating the cutting-edge research in the creative industries that's happening here at Brookes.
The festival continued for a week, highlighting the growing impact of research on creative industries.
And neurotic residues in with the histories and architectures of these late industrial regions. It is set in 1975 when this former garment manufacturing site overlooking London well use is the commercial equivalent of residential property guardianships, essentially.
At Oxford Brookes, so I still feel like I'm learning what people do here, and so yeah, it's been really great to kind of just get a sense of the kind of research that's happening here, like within the fine art department, but also like beyond that as well.
Presenters are examining how technology, identity, and creative ownership intersect, questioning what authenticity means in a rapidly changing industry.
The network's running more events this year. We're going to have an event which is aimed at supporting researchers in their research bids and trying to get funding for the kinds of projects that I've been talking about.
Shivani Sanjay, Oxford Brookes University.
That's all we have time for today, but don't forget you can watch all of our previous episodes on the BrookesTV YouTube channel, youtube.com/@BrookesTDE Marketing.
And if you have any questions or leads on stories, you can email us on brookestv@brookes.ac.uk with any questions.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.